Okay.
Just would like to thank everybody for coming today. I want you all to imagine that your tooth is bothering you, or you're not feeling so well, you have a cold or some type of disease. You'd probably imagine going to your local dentist or your local physician, and you might have to get a tooth pulled or have blood taken to try to find out what was going on. Before the early 1900s, you'd be going to your local barber, or as they called them then, it was a barber surgeon. Today we're going to be going over the history of barbering, and I'm going to be sharing with you guys some of the key parts that involve the scope of barbering at that time, and also going back into the modern day barbershop. Today we're going to gain an understanding of what barbers do and also what they did previously. To preview, firstly, early barbers or the barber surgeons. Then we're going to move on to the barber pole. And then we're going to go to the 1920s and the bob and women going into the barber shop, as well as the barber shop today. The early barber surgeons were doing the same scope of things that barbers were doing today. They were cutting and styling hair. They were shaving men's faces. They were doing all types of skin services. But they were also doing, as I previously stated, they were doing routine dental things. They were pulling teeth. And they were doing bloodletting. Milady's Standard Cosmetology book, published in 2012, stated, "The barber pole was a symbol of bloodletting and has its roots in the medical procedure called bloodletting that is once thought to strengthen the immune system." As you can see, the barber pole is directly related to bloodletting. Aaron Lowry and Rich Smith wrote in The Hidden Meaning of 10 Professional Symbols on September 2nd, 2010 that the red, white, and blue stripes in the barbershop are meant to represent blood, bandages, and veins. For thousands of years, barbers didn't just cut hair and shave beards. They performed surgery, dentistry, and more. As you can see, the barber pole here, the staff right here, the client would hold on to. And as they were holding, their veins would swell out of their arms. And the barber would come and make an incision, and they would normally bleed out until they fainted or passed out. The blood would collect in the bottom basin. And the modern day barbershop, the white represented the clean bandages, the blue was the veins, and the red was for the blood or the blood-soaked bandages. The way you see it, it came about that after the procedure was done, the bandages would be hanging, and the wind would cause them to wrap around the pole as they were drying.
Ouch.
The barber pole would start to see a transition in the type of clients they had. It would normally be men, and with some of the procedures, women would be involved. But then in the 1920s, with the introduction of the bob haircut, which was mainly women started, they were smoking in public, they were rebelling against society, but also in many ways the bob represented a lot of things. They were being rejected from society, they were being rejected from the salons, and they were basically pushed into the barbershop. That's the only places that would service them. Irene Castle Trayman wrote, "I bobbed my hair, and then in the Ladies' Home Journal, published October 1921, it is easier to be the first person to do a thing than the first to introduce it. And I believe I am largely blamed for the homes wrecked and engagements broken because of clipped tresses," regarding the bob hairstyle. You see, it was so extreme for women to be bobbing their hair that their husbands were leaving them and their families were abandoning them, and it was just not accepted. Slowly after the 1920s, women's rights and everything began to progress, and they were allowed to express themselves more, and it was socially accepted. They started moving back into the salon. This again led the barbershop, or the modern day barbershop, to be mainly focused more on men in the barbershop. It became a place where they could have social functions and gatherings. It was a place where men and clients and barbers would debate. It was a true place for you to be free, to express yourself, and to talk about things that you might not be able to talk about anywhere else. Today's barbershop, one thing you see that's coming back is the straight razor. It's coming back. People use it to trim their neck and trim the sideburns to get a really close shape up. There's also a lot of technology in the barbershop of today. To close, just to review what we went over, the early barber surgeons were directly related to the barber pole because of the bloodletting procedures. Then in the 1920s, women started flocking to the barbershop. And then today's barbershop, we began to see, the progression, more men coming in, even though women can still be serviced, but it was majority men. And to close, I'd just like to state that the barbershop will continue to progress and continue to change over time. And although the scope of things change and we might not service, we might not pull teeth or perform blood services, there's still going to be a strong connection with the barber and the client. There's going to be a very real bond there for them to bond. And the barber is going to continue to have the freedom to be an artist. And also, I just want to let you guys know that I am a New Jersey State cosmetologist, licensed in the state of New Jersey. I studied at the Middlesex County Vocational and Trade School, and I've also researched this information from sources online and also the Milady Standard Text that's used in the United States. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Hey. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Bruce, take a walk.